Have you ever felt a strange sadness, the kind that appears out of nowhere, even when everything seems fine? Have you ever tried to smile in front of people while, inside, your mind was tired, your heart heavy, and your soul silently crying out for help? What if I told you that God knows exactly what you're feeling right now? And more than that, what if these emotions you try to hide were actually a sign that God is trying to remind you of something important? Many people believe that feeling fear, anxiety, sadness, or loneliness is a sign of spiritual weakness. But the truth is that the Bible shows exactly the opposite. Men strong in faith also wept. People chosen by God also went through moments of emotional anguish. Perhaps no one has told you this before, but even biblical characters felt deep emotions, silent pains, and internal battles that almost no one saw. And perhaps that's exactly what you needed to hear today. Have you ever been through this? Have you ever tried to hide your anxiety from everyone, pretending everything was fine, while inside it felt like your mind would never shut off? Some people carry such heavy worries that they wake up already tired. Others live battling negative thoughts, constant fears, and inexplicable feeling of emptiness. And the scariest thing is that often no one notices. Emotional pain is usually silent. But there's something powerful that many people forget. God has never ignored human emotions. Throughout the Bible, we see emotionally broken people being heard by him. David wept during the early morning hours. Elijah felt alone and powerless. Job faced such deep pain that he wished to disappear. Even Jesus, at times, showed sadness, anguish, and suffering. This means that God doesn't turn away when someone is emotionally exhausted. On the contrary, he draws near. Perhaps you are watching this video today because deep down, you feel that something within you needs to be restored. Perhaps your heart is carrying emotions that you have never been able to explain to anyone. And do you know what might surprise you? Often, God uses precisely these moments of fragility to get our attention, because there are pains that reveal what our soul has been trying to hide for a long time. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover may completely change how you see your emotions. Perhaps what you call weakness is actually a spiritual warning. Perhaps this constant anxiety is revealing an overburdened heart. Perhaps this fear that paralyzes your decisions is stealing the peace that God wanted to place within you. And perhaps your sadness is not the end of your story, but the beginning of an emotional healing process guided by God. Today, many people live emotionally exhausted. They have faith. They believe in God. They pray sometimes, but they continue to carry an invisible weight within their souls because they have learned to hide their emotions, but they have never learned to deal with them in the light of the Bible. And that is exactly where many people get lost. They try to appear strong all the time, while their hearts grow weary, wounded, and distant from the peace that God offers. But there's something you need to remember right now. God knows thoughts that no one else knows. He sees tears that no one else has seen. He understands pain that you've never been able to explain in words. Even when everyone thinks you're okay, God knows what's going on inside you. And maybe that's why you come to this video today. Because some messages don't appear by chance. Some words arrive exactly when the soul most needs to hear them. And as we continue, you'll understand why certain emotions may be revealing much more about your spiritual life than you imagine. And perhaps the hardest part of this emotional journey is precisely believing that no one understands what you feel. Many people are smiling on the outside and struggling on the inside. Some lost their peace a long time ago. Others can no longer rest their minds. And there are those who even continue to seek God, but carry silent questions they never had the courage to ask. Therefore, I want to ask you something very sincerely. If this topic resonates with you, please leave a comment below describing what has touched you the most so far. It could be a word, an emotion, or even something you've been silently facing. Sometimes, when someone writes about what they're feeling, they realize they're not alone in this battle. And the most incredible thing is that other people also read these comments and find strength, identification, and hope through your testimony. Your participation here is what makes this channel grow and reach more people with this type of content. Because there are emotionally exhausted, hurt, and discouraged people who may need to hear exactly this message, but haven't yet found this video. And every comment, every like, and every subscription helps this message reach further. So, if you believe that messages like this need to continue reaching lives, please like this video. It may seem simple, but it helps much more than many people imagine. It's a way to show YouTube that this content deserves to be delivered to more people who are silently facing anxiety, sadness, fear, and emotional battles. And if you find peace when listening to content about faith, emotional healing, Christian spirituality, and biblical motivation, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel. Because here, with each video, the intention is to bring messages that strengthen the soul, renew hope, and help you understand that God continues to speak, even in the most difficult moments of life. And perhaps today, amidst so many confusing emotions in your heart, God is simply trying to remind you of something you cannot forget. Now I want to delve even deeper into the subject, because many people don't realize how much emotions begin to control their lives when they cease to be understood in the light of God's truth. And perhaps one of the most silent and dangerous emotions is precisely anxiety. It doesn't arrive making a sound. It enters slowly, through excessive thoughts, constant worry, the need to foresee everything, control everything, and solve everything alone. The mind doesn't rest. The heart never slows down. And even in moments of silence, there's a war raging inside. Some people wake up already emotionally exhausted. Before the day even begins, their minds are already preoccupied with problems, negative possibilities, fear of the future, and decisions that haven't even been made yet. And the more a person tries to control everything, the more peace they lose. Perhaps that's why the Bible says, "Do not be anxious about anything," because God knows the impact that anxiety has on the human soul. It steals clarity, weakens faith, wears down the mind, and makes a person carry burdens they were never meant to carry alone. And perhaps God is trying to remind you of exactly that today. You don't need to carry the whole world on your shoulders. Not everything depends solely on your strength, your ability, or your responses. There are emotional battles that only begin to lessen when someone understands that they can't control everything. This is one of the most difficult revelations of the spiritual journey, because human beings like the feeling of control, but often it is precisely this desperate attempt to control everything that silently fuels anxiety. And along with anxiety, there's another emotion that many people hide very well: sadness. Not that fleeting sadness, but that deep pain that a person keeps silent for months or even years. Some people continue functioning normally, working, talking, smiling, while inside they feel an emptiness that's hard to explain. And you know what's most powerful about all this? God has never rejected emotionally exhausted people. David, a man after God's own heart, wrote psalms in moments of profound sorrow. In many of them, he wept, poured out his heart, questioned, and poured out emotions before God that many people today will be ashamed to admit. This shows a very powerful truth. Your silence does not prevent God from hearing your pain. Even when no one notices what is happening inside you, God notices. Even when words fail to explain what you feel, God understands the weight in your heart. And perhaps there is someone listening to this right now who has become accustomed to hiding emotions so as not to worry anyone. People who have learned to suffer in silence, who have become strong out of necessity. But carrying sadness for too long changes your mindset, affects your decisions, weakens your dreams, and slowly takes away your hope. That's why God doesn't just want you to keep resisting. He wants to heal what is wounded inside you. And then fear appears. The fear that paralyzes decisions, prevents change, and keeps a person trapped in emotional cycles. Fear has a frightening ability to magnify problems within the mind. It makes the giant seem bigger than God. It makes the future seem impossible. It makes a person give up before even trying. Perhaps that's why one of the most repeated phrases in the Bible is, "Do not be afraid," because God knows that fear distorts people's vision. Fear makes someone believe they will never win, never change, never get out of that situation. But often, what paralyzes you the most isn't the problem itself. It's how your mind has come to see that problem. And there are people who are emotionally blocked not because of a lack of ability, but because they have lost courage after so many disappointments. And speaking of disappointments, there's an emotion that many people carry hidden without realizing the spiritual impact it causes. Anger, old grudges, emotional wounds, hurtful words, rejections, abandonment, injustices, all of this gets stored inside the heart, and repressed emotions become a burden. Little by little, the person loses peace, hardens their feelings, and begins to live constantly emotionally exhausted. But there's something few people understand about forgiveness. Forgiving doesn't mean pretending it didn't hurt, nor does it mean accepting people's mistakes. Forgiving is freeing your heart so you don't remain trapped in pain, because there are wounds that only begin to heal when they are surrendered to God. And perhaps some emotions are weighing so heavily precisely because they have been carried alone for too long. And perhaps, after everything that has been said here today, the greatest truth that God wanted to remind you of is this: you don't need to hide what you feel to be loved by Him. God knows your inner battles, understands your quietest thoughts, and sees pain that no one else can see. Even on days when you feel emotionally tired, lost, or weak, Heaven continues to watch over you with care, compassion, and purpose. If you've made it this far, I believe this message has touched a very specific part of your heart. So write the phrase, "God understands my pain," in the comments. I really want to know that you stayed with me until the end of this reflection. And sometimes, writing this is also a way to remind yourself that you are not alone on this journey. If this video brought you peace, clarity, or even a new perspective on what you've been feeling, please give a like. This helps the content continue reaching people who may be silently experiencing the same emotional battle. And if you enjoy content about Christian spirituality, biblical motivation, emotional healing, and messages that strengthen faith amidst life struggles, you can subscribe to the channel and continue walking with me here. The idea behind this space is precisely to create a place where weary people can find hope, direction, and rest for their souls. And before you leave, there's a video here that complements this topic very well and can speak even more deeply to what you're experiencing right now. Click on it and continue reading there